Hey everyone, Technomentary with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to compare the new iPhone 16 Pro with the iPhone 13 Pro that was released 3 years ago. Everything you need to know whether you're thinking about upgrading from the 13 to the 16 Pro, or if you're just wanting to know the differences, we're going to talk about in this video. So let's get started. So we recently unboxed the new iPhone 16 Pro. If you want to check out that unboxing, it's on our channel. And here we have the iPhone 13 that was released in 2021. So the big difference, of course, right off the bat, you can see it in terms of the display here, is that top notch here versus the dynamic island on the new iPhone 16 Pro. You have the smaller bezel, but aside that, in terms of the size here, the 16 Pro is a 6.3 inch display versus a 6.1 inch display on the iPhone 13. So of course slightly bigger. And then other things to also consider between these two phones, it's going to be in the body. If we look in the back here, you'll see here noticeably the triple camera versus the two 12 megapixel camera. These triple cameras, now they are 48 megapixel camera, which gives a really big boost in the camera area. Now other things you also know on the 16 Pro now that comes is this ability to activate the camera using this camera button, which is not available. This is the 5G MMM way that's on the iPhone 13. And also if we take a look further down, the 13 that has advantage is that physical SIM card on the US model. Unfortunately, the 16 Pro doesn't have that. And then finally, you have the action button that's available on the 16 versus the ring or the silent button on the older 13 model. So those are going to be the big difference in terms of that. And finally, the charging capability with the USB-C on the 16 Pro versus Lightning on the iPhone 13. So those are main differences. Now, other thing you might consider is going to be, again, the battery life between the iPhone 16 Pro gives you around 27 hours versus the iPhone 16, which is rated for 19 hours. A big difference in terms of the battery capability because of bigger battery on the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, in terms of other things between these phones, as I mentioned, the camera upgrades, if we take a look at it, you're going to notice a big difference in the camera. Things like video, even cinematic are available on both devices, but slightly advantage comes on the 16 Pro is spatial mode for your camera as well. So those are going to be big things between these two devices. And of course, not to mention the iOS software version of it. So the iPhone 13 gets iOS 18, which is the latest version of it. iPhone 16 Pro comes with iOS 18 and all of the features are available. Now, most of the iOS 18 features you can get on the iPhone 13, except for a couple features such as Apple Intelligent, which seems to be the biggest update that we're going to be getting on the 16 Pro, which hasn't come out yet. But you can use apps like ChatGPT even on the iPhone 13 as an alternative for it. Now, besides that, there are other hidden features on the 16 Pro that's not available on the iPhone 13, such as crash detection, which is the ability to save your life in emergency situation. Even connecting to satellite, you can connect for roadside assistant and messaging as well. That's not available on the iPhone 13. So those are going to be some reasons you might consider upgrading from the 13 to the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, of course, the 13 is a regular model, the 16 is a Pro model. So a lot of the features we mentioned are going to be, of course, not available because this isn't the 13 Pro. Even though the 13 Pro doesn't have those features that we're mentioning with the iPhone 16 Pro. Which comes to the next point, is it worth upgrading from the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 16 Pro? Now, of course, with the 16 Pro, you're going to get a better camera because of those triple cameras, a bigger size battery, so battery life is going to be increased. Performance-wise, under the chip you have on the 13 is a A15 Bionic chip with 4 gigs of RAM versus the iPhone 16 Pro, which comes with a 18 Pro chip with a 8 gigs of RAM, so almost double the amount of RAM. So when it comes to multitasking, 16 Pro, it's going to definitely beat your iPhone 13 Pro in that sense. So again, comparing for performance, camera, battery life, of course it is worth the upgrade if you're thinking about that. But if you don't think about spending $1,000 and you find with the current capability, because it gets iOS 18, it's still a great phone. Again, it's going to be a great phone for the next 2 to 3 years for sure, because the iPhone 13, again, was only released 3 years ago, and we see phones like iPhone 10s, 10R that are still supported at this time. So again, like I mentioned, you're going to be looking at kind of like, is it something in your budget? If not, again, you're going to be looking at comparing keeping it versus upgrading to it. But that's our opinion between these two phones. Again, both are great devices. worth it if you're thinking about those minor updates and some of the major features. Besides that, again, I want to hear from you guys. What's your thought on the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 16 Pro upgrade? If you've done it, if you're thinking about it, leave a comment in the comment section. I hope you guys found this review helpful. If so, please consider the like and subscribe button for more reviews like this. We'll see you guys next time.